Hady, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Let's talk about whether or not investors have been rattled and what the path forward is.
Good morning. Indeed, we surveyed investors, as we have done for the last 12 years, this time just very focused on their expectations around the COVID crisis. And the picture was very clear that they still have significant concerns for pretty much all of 2020. They don't see the severe impact of the crisis tailing off until at least Q3, if not even Q4 this year. They really just see profitability and earnings growth return towards the end of the year.
All right, so Hady, we've made a lot out of the letters L, U, and V, V, U, and L, U, V, and L, whatever permutation or combination you want to come up with. Is there an expectation among investors that you have surveyed that we could come out of this very quickly, the V-shaped recovery? Or is it going to bottom out and trough a bit, the U-shaped recovery? Or are we just going to be stuck in a low-growth environment for a while, the L-shaped recovery? Any indication how investors from your survey feel on that front?
Yes, and unfortunately, very few really expect the strong V-shaped recovery. As really an immediate bounce back, as though we reopen the economy and it's all going to go back to as great as it was. As you see, only about 15% of investors expect that kind of pattern, and about 80-odd percent, 87%, I think exactly, is the expect one of the other patterns. I think there is what we really see is a lot of diversity of opinion. And what we see is that a lot of people believe that a U-shaped recovery, which would not be very different from what we saw after 2008. So in a sense, it's not a terrible thing. It just means the recovery sets in later and you don't bounce back right away to the levels you had before, is a real likelihood. But there are some concerns that an L is out there.
All right. So with that in mind, as investors look towards these companies that they're putting money towards and putting equity into, is there a sense now that these investors have reshaped their paradigm, their way of thinking with regard to how companies are operating in this kind of environment? Are they willing to perhaps give some leeway, given the fact that many companies have had to shift their focus from a business perspective to help in the COVID-19 crisis? What exactly are best practices, if you will, for these companies, given what investors expect right now?
Indeed, investors gave us their preferences, their playbook in a sense. And they were very clear. There are two things to really focus on. One is protecting liquidity and financial health, which obviously is not very surprising given how severe the impact is for many companies. Now, the other thing, however, is that almost 90% of investors said that companies should still focus on investing to be winners in the rebound, which is a very high number given where we are right now. Right, companies are not really making money, or many companies are not really making money right now. And investors still tell them investing and building the capabilities that you'll need, not just to survive this year, but to thrive in the years after, is a main priority.